Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, when did I last? Or when you, up to what you people have heard?
The face recognition we were discussing.
Okay. So, for last couple of 2-3 minutes, you are not able to hear?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, request TS to alert me in case if I miss or the connection goes off. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, immediately tell me. So that actually we will not lose the time. Okay. So what I was telling is about the image. I hope you have seen this slide, right? Have you seen the discussion on this slide?
Yes, sir.
No,
Yes?
sir, I haven't seen. So, no,
No,
sir.
sir.
No, sir.
Okay.
We were on the intuitive examples. That slide waits.
Okay, okay. So fine. So the as discussed in the last class, what camera sees is only a set of numbers or a matrix of numbers corresponding to the average intensities in the regions each of the sensor element looks at. Okay, so it does see nothing more. So from this, what our objective is, we need to make out. So there are several problems that we want to address. Like the humans do, whatever the humans perceive from images, we want to perceive the same things from the by the machine, okay, by processing the images. So the problem is the way we look at is completely different. The way computer looks at is completely different. The way computer looks at is only a array of numbers or a matrix, okay, or a set of matrices. So that's where the problem is. So now given this, what we want to know, what is the object, okay, where is the object, okay, and so on. So many problems that we usually we are capable of. Okay, so say to put forth to you on some of the specific problems of interest, and also to motivate you the importance of this machine learning and image processing, I will bring in some of the critical aspects that are dealt in image processing and computer vision. Okay, and then I will discuss some of the aspects that are important in machine learning. Okay, I will show some of the applications that are already accomplished or reasonably accomplished with both machine learning and image processing. Okay, so meanwhile, in between, I will discuss on the course content and grading criteria. Okay, so that's essentially the discussion of this class. So if you are trying to tell something to me, better don't chat and write to directly talk to me, so that actually it will help me to not to interrupt in between and see chat boxes. Okay, if you want to discuss with anyone, focusedly send the charts to them. Okay, unnecessarily don't put it in the chat box. Okay, so now see, what do you think is the challenge that is there in this slide? Can one of you think of and tell? So what is, so I just want to know some of the abilities that human have, if by seeing this slide, okay, and then to impart to the computer or to the machine, what kind of things I should do. That's what is my criteria. Okay, so can you tell specifically what may be the problem I may be posing here?
Sir,
Counting
you
number
can
of objects.
differentiate.
Counting number of
Objects present in the image.
Humans can differentiate based on color.
okay. Okay, what they can differentiate?
Overlapping objects.
Okay, so see if I give you this small image to a very small kid, okay, what may be the problem I may be asking him? I have just show this image to a kid and ask him a problem. What is a sensible or a very good intuitive problem that may ask him?
Specifying a color.
Count the number of.
Right.
Sir, first to identify the object.
Pages. Okay, so I can ask for tell the number of different colors and so on, but more importantly, I may ask to count the number of edges. Okay, so if I ask the same question to the computer, what do you think is needed to make it, to perform it?
Computer needs to differentiate between all razor first of all to identify how many objects are there.
Right. It has to identify, tell very clearly, and then one point after the other we will move on. What it has to do. Yeah, Pradeep. Yeah. Oh, it has to tell. Yeah. Vaishnavi, anything? Is the connection fine? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hello, sir.
Yeah, hi. I think
Your
again.
voice was breaking, sir.
Okay, okay. Let us see if still the connection breaks. I will try to make a some complementary arrangement. Okay, so I am sharing again. Okay.
Can you switch off your videos? Might be your net is
Okay, good. We'll do that. Yeah.
Sir, and can you share your contact number if possible, like in the chat box?
Yeah, it's already there, Umesh or someone. It's in the slides. It's there.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Also in the slides I have shared, my contact number is there. Okay, fine. So what we are trying to do is here, what may be the problems that we may ask? The question that we discussed is to count the number of edges here. Okay, so if a computer has to do that, what do you think is needed?
It needs to know the boundary between different razors.
Okay, fine, very good. But even before that, it needs to know a little more thing. Okay, that's one thing that is needed. Any other things?
It needs to know the,
Huh?
Depth measurement. It needs to measure the depth of the image.
Okay, depth, it's okay. Even if I don't know depth, somehow I will manage.
the shape of razor.
Shape of razor, it has to know. Because, okay, assume that shape of razor is important. Okay, I will tell the reason. Any other things? Assume that shape of razor is somewhat known. Okay, and it also can demarcate. There is one more important thing that is necessary to know.
color, sir.
Color, okay, I don't need color because shape, if I know, I am just want to find number of edges, that's all. One more important thing. After knowing shape, okay, and boundaries, what do you think I will do? So I just want to perform this task now. Okay, assume that this information is given to me. I want to perform this task. One or two steps, couple of steps I just want to know. How do I start and how do I go?
Break down the image to subparts and like identify if the shape is measuring the accuracy with the original image.
Right.
Like we consider a shape for reference and we compare.
Right. So what we will do is say, assume that we have a shape of a razor. Okay, assume that I take only up to this part. You're able to see this, I think, mouse. Okay. So, and then I try to match everywhere in the image where that shape is. So I want to know where the razors are. That's again important question. Okay. So then if there is a similar match for this shape versus this shape, okay, or this shape versus everywhere, I will keep going. Okay. And then I want to see where it matches. But if I want to do that, how many operations do you think I need to do? See, every location I have to search whether the given shape is there or not. That is one thing. If I just search with one shape, one template of the razor, is that sufficient?
No, sir.
Why?
Because the razor can be placed in any of the directions or any
Direction.
of the parts
So,
of the vehicle.
yeah, right. So I have to search across all directions. Okay, all shifts, all directions. Even then, do you think it is sufficient?
At times, the complete razor part will not be visible to us in the.
This are
Often,
incomplete.
okay, yeah, it may be partially only visible. Okay, and sometimes the scale also may be different. If I see from close and far, the size of that will be different. So different scales. Okay, and colors also matter in some cases. Okay, to recognize a face, for example, color matters. Okay, so many of these things are like bring in so much of computational requirements, okay, in terms of doing a very small job like this. Okay, so that's where the challenge in image processing or in understanding of images is. Okay, that's where the machine learning will come in and help here to do these tasks in a better way. Okay, so I will move on. Okay, so now assume that I want to make some perform it on our automated task. So we will see what are all the basic steps involved in doing it. Okay, so this is the example to understand what I want to discuss. See, there is a conveyor belt on which there are some fishes coming. These fishes are of two types. Okay, one is sea bass, other is Solomon, assume that. Okay, and I want to put each of these fishes into two different categories. Okay, one kind of fish I want to put here and another kind of fish I may want to put here. Okay, so I want to classify these fishes into two categories and put into two buckets, and I want to do that automatically from the image captured that is there on the from the camera that is over the conveyor belt. Okay, this is the problem. This is to start up a small fish industry. Okay, so given this, what do you think are the necessary steps? See, why I'm discussing these things is unless you bring, you think in terms of a computer or unless you think in terms of what the computer needs, you will not be able to make automated learning processes happen. Okay, you should not like for us, it's by default, it is very easy to do that. But whereas for computer, we should get the computer view now. Okay, to understand and make that does the job, to make it done the job. Okay, perform the job. So now tell me. So I will give a pass again. I request those students who didn't speak, okay, earlier to speak out quickly. Okay, so that actually each of you will interact. Since I can't call each of you by name, being a big class and as well as, okay, so it's a little difficult for me. So I request you people to quickly come up and convey. What should I do to make this automated job? Yeah. Please tell.
We should have features of both fishes.
Okay, good.
Some recognizable features.
Okay, so recognizable features. So can you please expand it a little bit? So the answer here is we should have first the features of both fishes. Okay, two classes I want to put. So for both two class 1 fishes and class 2 fishes, I should have a recognizable features. What do you mean by features? Can you give a specific examples?
So one is the color little bit be different. Second is the shape or volume occupied in the image, something.
Okay, so again shape, if you just say shape, it is very difficult for a computer to capture shape. So we should be little more clear. Even color, if we say, it is very difficult at which pixel, at which location of the fish. So we should boil down to a minute levels to understand and make things happen. Yeah, I request any other student to continue the discussion.
Like in case of these fishes, they'll be having those fins at particular points. So those fins will have some color contrast. So we can use this specific color contrast that will be like unique to each fish. Right. That could be taken as a feature.
Okay, so he's telling the unique or distinguishable features like the fin colors or the position of like number of fins, etc. So that we can capture. Okay, fine. Again, fin color, when we say it's an average intensity of the fin. Okay, similarly, previously when like Vinay has mentioned the fish intensities. Okay, intensity means the average intensity of our fish we can consider. Shape means what? Shape, how do I capture? I just want to capture somehow shape of the fishes. Also, assume that as features are attributes. Okay, so the first answer is correct. If you want to put any of into an automated task into like if you want to classify or if you want to perform an automated task, we need to understand the attributes of different classes of objects. Okay, and capture the attributes or features of different classes of objects. Okay, that's very important. Fine. Okay, so as an example of those features, somebody was telling fin colors and then the intensities, average intensity and the shape. So shape, if I want to measure, what do you think? What gives me a rough idea of shape? So I just want to bring down. Yeah.
Edges.
Okay, edges, fine. Still edges are say occur everywhere across the boundary. How do I capture that edge?
We can tune.
Yeah.
We can tune the we can tune the model like edge detector model and get specific edges.
It's not about the tuning and finding. Edges will not be a point values, right? So the question is, see, feature extraction can be done in two ways. One way is, see, feature extraction means attribute information. See, if I ask very simple attributes of a human, okay, what will you tell? You will tell that, what will you tell? If there is a human, if I ask very simple attributes of a human, I just want to know some attributes of a human. Minimal attributes, very easy to grasp or capture.
Height,
height, weight, okay, and probably name. Okay, so height, weight are numbers, and name is a small, it can capture compactly like that. If I want to capture the shape, okay, of an object, what do you think you will capture?
So weight.
Yeah, weight.
Height.
Height means here. Height
Total
means
length of the
fish, okay, and then width of the fish, okay, average intensity and so on. Okay, these are simple, and number of fins or color of fins. Okay, so these are some assume that features. But see, if I give you this image and start asking you to capture these things, do you think you will straight away go and measure, or what? How will you capture? I'm not very sure. I need some more information or intuition on how exactly I can capture these things.
So the sharp changes in the intensity of the pixels will give the edges. The sharp changes in the intensity.
Yeah, that is fine. Short changes in the intensity of pixels, okay, will give me edges, fine. But how do I capture for a particular fish? See, I want to put each of the fish into different categories. Okay, so how do I capture for each of the fish these measurements? What is the first step? Do I go pick and each fish and then measure these things and then put into one basket? In that way, if I myself can do it, right? I should not be there in picture. Yeah, tell me now.
So we can also calculate the texture. We can differentiate between the textures of the skin by taking an image.
Yeah. Yes, we can calculate any of the features. So including the features that the others have said, and the features like texture, edges, and so on, or even more features. That is all fine. But to capture the features, how do I catch a fish is my question. See, on the conveyor belt, now you can see the image, right? How many fishes are there here?
3.
Yeah, I want to capture these things for together for all 3, or how do I capture this?
I'll need to perform the segmentation kind of operation first.
Like one by one, we can make them move forward.
Right. So one way is to make the mechanical as like a conveyor belt or mechanically, we make sure that only one fish after the other only will move. But if that is not possible, through image processing, we have to separate the fishes. Okay. And then make the measurements. Okay. So that separating the fishes is referred to as segmentation, or segmenting the particular object, and then you can separate it. Okay. For that, you may use edges. Okay. You may use texture and so on. Okay. Fine. So this step is called pre-processing. in any of the machine learning operations, okay, irrespective of whether it is image processing based or any other data based, pre-processing step is also very important. Okay, for a particular given problem, you have a different kind of pre-processing that is needed. Correct or not? See, if I give you a noisy image and if I ask you to pre-process, what kind of pre-processing will you tell? I give you, say, I have a satellite image which is quite noisy. Okay, I want to do pre-processing on that to proceed further to identify what are the objects there, etc. What kind of pre-processing will you do?
Noise removal.
Yeah, noise removal. Okay, so I request those who have not answered to quickly answer. Okay, so that you will be in the loop. It's not for the benefit of me. Okay, so noise removal. Whereas here, if I ask you to do pre-processing, what kind of pre-processing you may do? Here.
Separating different fish.
That is fine. Do you even before that, other than that, any other pre-processing do you wish it is better to have?
Contrast.
Going for a
Yeah, contrast, increasing the contrast. So contrast, say for example, here is very poor. If I assume that I want to stretch the contrast, improve the contrast. Okay, very good. Any other things?
if you are going bars for the shape and all, then converting into grayscale.
Okay, I can do that. So there is one more thing that is very important. See, assume that I have separated the fishes here. But after separating, okay, one fish is like this, another fish is like this, another fish is like this. Do you think I will straight away make the measurements?
Making it scale invariant.
Making it?
Scale invariant.
How do I make it scale invariant? That's the problem, right? So do you think I will just straight away make the measurements, or is there, say, to make it scale invariant or some invariant? What should I do? Yeah, I need quick answers.
First, rotate it to a standard angle.
Yeah, rotate it or align them, okay, onto a common direction. Okay, if I can align them to a common direction, then my measurement, see, for example, otherwise length becomes width and width becomes length. Okay, it doesn't make any meaning, okay, of the measurements I make. Okay, so this pre-processing step consists of all these things. Okay, alignment, segmentation, contrast enhancement, denoising, everything. Okay, whatever it may be necessary in that application. And each application may demand different pre-processings. Say if I want to recognize a voice, what I will do is I will remove silence periods. Okay, so I will separate my voice from the surrounding voice. So the pre-processing here is different. Autonomous driving, their pre-processing is different. Okay, first I may take the effect of atmosphere, noise, okay, blur, okay, many other things. Okay, those I will try to remove and then process. Okay, so pre-processing step differs from application to application. And what about feature extraction step? Is it common or differs from application to application?
Different application to application.
It also differs from application to application. Say if I want to recognize a person face, where detection of face may require different features than detection of a fish. Okay, recognizing a person needs different features, okay, than detecting a face may require. Okay, in a similar manner, fingerprint recognition may require completely different features and so on. Okay, feature extraction is also application specific. Whereas the classification means, what do you think I will do? What do you think is the, say, to make it automate, I need to put into two categories. That is classification. What do you think I will do in classification? Quickly, I need answers.
So we need to set a boundary value. Based on that boundary value, we need to classify the fish.
Okay. Yeah, good. So what he's saying is length if I measure. Okay, all lengths of, say, one kind of fish will have lengths higher. All another kind of fishes may have lengths lower. So I may put a threshold or boundary value for class 1 fishes to have lengths higher. Okay, lesser than that, I will say it is class 2. But it's a very naive way of doing. Okay, we will try to see some even better ways of doing. And here comes the machine learning. You think now why machine learning is needed. If I can just put a threshold, why do I need machine learning? I don't need any machine learning. Okay, I can just put a threshold. Okay, I can capture the data, put a threshold, and then done. That's all. I don't need any learning there or machine learning. Okay, think of on that aspect. However, these three aspects are important for any classification or automation process. Okay, so I'm moving on. How much time do we have still?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay, so I will differentiate between different things later. Okay, I will. So you want me to go on to the grading criteria? Okay,
Yes.
so I will discuss the grading criteria for today, and then we will come back and see the difference between image processing, computer vision, and so on. Okay, and then move on in the next class.
Sir, we have 20 minutes, sir.
Oh, fine, good. Yeah, fine then. So, yeah, this is the grading criteria I'm thinking. Okay, so we have only midsem this semester. So midsem evaluation is for 25% of marks. Okay, and then final exam is for 40% of the marks. So I will be giving programming assignments and written assignments both. Okay, and some quizzes will be conducted in Moodle regularly. So the Moodle quizzes will be automatically quantified. Okay, and you will get the marks there. The programming assignments also we will be evaluating and assessing you. Written assignments we may or may not evaluate. Okay, it's up to you. So if you want to learn few effectively, it's very much necessary. Even to write the midsem exam and final exam very well, you need to vet yourself with the written assignments where there are some specific problems asked. Okay, so it's likely that actually I may give 4 to 5 written and programming assignments, and say 4 quizzes or 4 to 6 quizzes. Okay, or whenever if we are if we wish to have a class test in between, we may have one class test other than this mid exam. Okay, this tentatively for 15% of the marks. And then there is a mini project. As I said, it can be done individually or in group of 2. I will be giving a series of ideas, okay, in the introductory class itself to take up your mini projects. Okay, and subsequently also at the mid of February or so, I will try to spend at least one class on giving you hints on which kind of mini projects you can take. Okay, so you can start working you can start understanding the concepts and going towards selecting one and start doing one. Okay, kind of mini project as a part of this course that is currently put for 20% of the marks. Okay, so based on the how programming assignments, how many programming assignments etc are given, and how you people perform mini project, this may be this can be 20 and this can be 15. Okay, that will make a change if necessary later. Okay, for time being, this is the grading criteria I'm thinking of. I request the students' comments on this. Is this fine?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Fine, sir.
Okay.
Fine, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So let's because anyway this is little bit of program intensive. We have reasonably good number of marks. So for programming as well. Okay.
Sir, can you suggest, we civil student need to learn Python programming, so can you suggest any course or somewhere we can learn?
Yeah, I request you people also to attend at least a couple of labs that are going on for MTech students. Okay, so MTech electrical students. So there, Sumant is giving them some hints, even hands-on demonstrations. Okay, so on how to start Python. Okay, set up the things and so on. Yeah. Okay, that will help you a lot. And subsequently, they themselves will convey. There are some online resources, and probably even I think you can MOOC courses are there. Enough MOOC course NPTEL or MOOC courses are there. If you want to do some, you can even take those. Okay. So immediately you can join in the labs so that actually they will help you. So probably a lab, for lab also there is a Google Classroom created. So there we will be sharing the video recordings of the lab as well. Okay, so those who want to go through and utilize from them can do that even if they miss to attend the lab. However, for electrical MTech students, it's mandatory to be in the lab. But others, you can avail the video lectures as well if you want.
Being in computer science or any other branch, we are not getting the email or the confirmation about the lab. So
Yeah, correct. Actually, what happened is in the sheet, attendance sheet, so your names are not written. So that's why it's missing for now. So I request you people to send me a mail once. Okay, all the computer science people, only I think computer science people are missing, MTech computer science.
yes.
Right. So you please send me your mail IDs once to me. I will forward to our TS and they will include you in the attendance sheet, and regularly all updates will come to you.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So if this is fine, we will move on from here. We will go back to our discussion.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So for the course grading, sir, is it possible to shift more weightage to the programming assignments from the end semester?
Yeah, so we will try to do that. So I think now 30 to 50, usually 40% is the maximum weightage, minimum weightage we have to give for the final exam. But I think given the current situation, it's a little flexible, I think. So probably in that case, we will make this also 20 and then this 35 or something like that. We'll do it as we move on. We can do it. Just I will check the minimum requirement for final exam. We can do that. So I think it's fine.
Sir, please keep this term and 40 because civil people will be having issue with this one programming assignment.
Correct.
So
we will see. Actually, see what I will do is usually in my course, even though this is put if I can, I may keep a upper slab of 20 here. I may evaluate even for 105 marks overall. Okay, and that will be taken for 100, not for course grading. This I voluntarily do in case if there is a reasonable amount of programming assignments that are given and you people also have done reasonably. Sometimes what will happen is I keep giving, some students do, some students may not do. So in that case, there is no point in giving more weightage. However, if you have reasonably done it, we will try to credit little flexibility around this. So anyway, overall, I would like to assess how you have performed in the course overall. Okay, for time being, then let us stick on to this. Okay, so then we will see actually if say 5% can be moved, 20% this can be made based on the programming assignments we take. So usually programming assignments encompasses some of the machine learning aspects, applying on image processing or on images, and some of the it may also have some of the one or two deep learning aspects as well. So if we can go up to even deep learning aspect, I think it is fine to increase a little bit there. So if we only perform the machine learning aspects, then I think 15% we will put. Yeah, I think I will give you a flexibility there later. Okay. So let us come back to our discussion. So you may be hearing several terms like signal processing, image processing, computer vision, pattern recognition, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. Okay, before I bring in the difference, I just want to hear from you. Okay, I can anyway flash this slide and start reading it. Okay, or conveying it. But I just want to hear from you. Yeah, quick answers again. What is difference between image processing and computer vision? What do you think?
Image processing is more of a sub-part of computer vision because image processing only involves how to manipulate images to get the required data. But computer vision also involves analyzing that and trying to use it and probably extend it to further applications.
Right. So image processing, the input is an image and output is also an image, processed image. Okay. So it's referred to as low level vision. Okay. Usually in the community, it's referred to as low level vision. Whereas some tasks of image processing where there is a inference is to be made to some extent, they are known as mid-level vision, and computer vision mainly deals with making inference from images. Okay, so the input is an image or video, but output is not an image. It's an inference. Okay, in computer vision. Okay, So whereas in image processing, input is an image, output is a processed image. Okay, that's the distinction. Mid-level vision, as I said, encompasses image processing majorly, but finally it brings in segmentation. For example, segmented output in an image. So that also gives an inference. Okay, so purely if you want to make an inference, then we say that it's a high-level vision or computer vision. Okay, fine. So that is the distinction between those terms. Then tell me what may be the distinction between machine learning and artificial intelligence. Yeah,
Machine learning is part of artificial intelligence. It's
okay.
a sub part of.
Yeah, machine learning is a part of artificial intelligence. Okay, artificial intelligence refers to imparting intelligence to the computer, like the computer or the machine. Okay, but it has evolved since long, and there have been several different ways of doing this, imparting the ability of intelligence. Okay, some kind of small intelligence or little intelligence to the task or the data processing task. Okay, so that is it encompasses some rule-based methods. Okay, and several other methods, and including learning-based methods. Whereas machine learning primarily discusses on the learning-based methods. Okay, however, now the significance or strength of artificial intelligence now has come to the machine learning or deep learning, thanks to the recent advancements in this area. Okay, so what may be the difference between pattern recognition and machine learning? So there is other term usually computer scientists people usually say use, that is pattern recognition. Okay, and machine learning is the other term that people use in this area. So what can be the difference between the pattern recognition and
Sir, like pattern recognition, you don't know what you're looking for. Sir. You're hoping that the computer gives you something.
Okay.
Like in machine learning, you're teaching it to do something that you already know.
Okay. Okay. So fine. This is one good point. So there is another important aspect that has to be highlighted when we want to see the distinction. Can some of you comment on it? Think of it.
So can we say that pattern recognition as I'm just giving an example, like the banking fraud detection, like some pattern in it, and we say that it is a banking fraud.
Right. So in pattern recognition, we are more specific on recognizing a particular pattern. Okay, or a particular object, or a particular pattern means it can be a image pattern, or it can be a like text pattern, and so on. We are interested in especially identifying a particular pattern. That is pattern. So it's an application oriented term. Okay, for doing that, I can use machine learning. Okay, nobody objects me to use not to use machine learning there. So to recognize a person face, I may use machine learning. Okay, machine learning is a methodological description. Okay, it tells how I am performing the task. Okay, it's like goal oriented, the term is pattern recognition, and the process oriented term is machine learning. Okay, but the input in both cases is input can be data, output is an information or inference. Okay, even in machine learning, the output can be an inference. In machine learning, input can be image, output can also be data. Okay, image. Okay, in machine learning, it can also be inference. Okay, so now what may be the difference between computer vision and this machine learning?
Sir, the computer vision will not have the training part. The algorithm will run only once.
Okay.
Computer vision deals with image or video data, like
right.
media.
That's all is the difference. Okay, so computer vision also has a learning. Okay, without learning, computer can't see. Okay, you need learning. You can do recognition also in computer vision. You can apply artificial intelligence in computer vision. Okay, however, the data that we usually consider in computer vision is vision data. That is image or video data. Okay, whereas machine learning has no data constraints. So it can take any of the data and make the inferences. Okay, that is the process orient, like the way we do, it depicts whether it conveys whether it is machine learning or pattern recognition, okay, or artificial intelligence, etc. Okay, within like to be more specific. But if the data type depicts whether it is conveys, whether it is a like computer vision or other task of learning. Okay, so these are rough discussion to distinguish these terms. Okay, so now let's move on. So as we discussed in the previous discussion, the any of the pattern recognition task or automation task requires understanding extraction of the features from the raw data after processing, pre-processing, and then finally to accomplish the task, we apply classification. See, now let us see in different data types. Okay, how does this recognition usually is done? See, assume that with this we will stop the discussion. Okay, with probably with this slide we will stop the discussion. See, if we want to identify in the, we'll say, classify between cars, bikes, and say, for example, vans or something, okay, from the images. Or if you want to understand who is speaking or what the speech is, okay, this is another data type. And if you want to recognize a text and convey, okay, where this text is, or if you want to summarize from the text. Okay, so you can see that these are three different data types on which I want to perform a recognition task. Okay, so or I may want to perform a classification task or a learning based task to understand, okay, to make some inferences. This is the problem. In this, the commonness is I just want to automate the task in each of these things. Now the question is, okay, what do you think are common here? What do you think, like steps are common here? What steps are different here? Quickly, can some of you convey? Yeah, I need some answer. Any automation task, as I discussed, it needs 3 steps now. Okay, one is classification, one is pre-processing, other is feature extraction, third one is classification. In this, okay, among these 3 steps, which are common, which are different for these different data types? That's the question.
So text might not need pre-processing if it is already digital.
Okay, fine. Okay, you mean to say pre-processing is different for text? Might not need is fine, but it may also need. See, for example, if I want to search, so image region is different and text region is different. Okay, or commas and so on sometimes may not be needed to understand the text.
Yes.
And to summarize also, A and the all I can remove, and then I can understand. Say I want to put a Twitter positive or negative. Okay, I don't see all those things. Only I will see webs or some, say, attributes. Yeah. So what are, say, pre-processing? Let us come one after the other. Pre-processing, is it same for all the 3 data types or different?
It will be different for all 3, sir.
Yeah, it will be quite different from all 3. Okay, so the kind of pre-processing I use in audio, maybe I want to take into frequency domain to do any process. Okay, whereas in images, I may want to do edge like image processing task first. Okay, if I give you text, I may want to do some cleaning. Okay, or identifying some common phrases. Okay, something like that. So the pre-processing is different. Now come to feature extraction stage. Is that same or different?
I feel it will be different again. Features will be different for all 3.
Okay, others, what others feel? Would like to hear quickly.
Different, sir.
Yeah, it will be different. Yeah, why? Can you give an example? Again, feature extraction here, as I said, edges are features here. Okay, or I want to tell the length, okay, and width. And I want to tell how many wheels are there. If I want to distinguish between car and bike, for example. Okay, or some attributes of that sort. Whereas if I want to perform audio-based speaker recognition, I want to know how much is the pitch, okay, or the frequency, okay, of frequency content here. Okay, here if I want to recognize whether the particular phrase is there or not, I will try to see the letters and compare. Okay. So I want to just quantify the length of each word and then say that at least only match those words which have same length. Okay. So the kind of features I extract in each case is different. In fact, the features I extract even in image processing jobs, several other image processing or computer vision jobs itself is different, as I said. And what about classification? Once we extract features,
It's the same.
yeah, it is same. Okay, that's why people have been studying the machine learning as a course, okay, independently of computer vision, signal processing, okay, or any other courses. Okay, whereas the pre-processing, feature extraction are dealt with image processing and computer vision mainly, and in speech it is speech processing and signal processing. Okay, signal, speech, and image and computer vision. Whereas the classification task is common for all the data types, and it is that's separated and studied as machine learning or pattern recognition. Okay, in the conventional settings. Okay, so now why do you think classification is same? So with this, we will conclude the class. So why do you think classification is same for all data
After
types?
feature is extracted, it will become data. So for
right.
classifying data, all will be same.
Correct. Once the features are extracted, it is anyway data. Okay. So all data types are vectors or matrices or whatever. Usually we bring in event vectors. So roughly same kind of demarcation. I want to put a boundary. I will put, if once you give a vector, I will somehow try to see where the vectors are for class 1, class 2 data points and try to put a boundary. Okay. So it is common. And most of the machine learning class discussions are around the classification methods. But however, since this is machine learning for image processing, we also bring in some of the data like pre-processing and feature extraction aspects on images. Also, there are some now the area has evolved such that for all data types, you may have common feature extraction strategies. We will discuss that during the deep learning time. Okay. So if you have any quick questions, you can ask. Otherwise, we can stop the class here for today. Okay. Thank you then. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, bye.